Alright guys, moving on with the questions here. I just realized that by stopping the video and coming back, nobody really knows how much time has passed. This could be days later and I could have just put the same outfit on and nobody would know. Jamie Osborne 19, who is your all-time favorite WWE wrestler and what's your all-time favorite WWE match? Wrestler would have to be Shawn Michaels, because for my era of when I really started to get into wrestling, he was the guy. And he would always put on great matches. He was a great babyface and a great heel. And I just think he was like the guy for the WWE in that era, and he just always delivered. And there were times when he would, I guess, lost his smile and disappeared, but he was still an awesome performer, and I was definitely a big Shawn Michaels fan, so I have to go with him. All-time favorite WWE match. The first match that always comes to mind whenever someone asks me this has to be The Rock versus Mankind in an I Quit match. I had watched some ECW, and maybe it was the psychology in that match, but something about it was just so brutal. And The Rock just destroying Mankind with those chairs over and over again. It was just awesome. And throwing him off the balcony into those the electrical equipment or whatever. I just watched that match over and over again so many times. Definitely one of my favorite WWE matches of all time. WWE Uploader F95. Who is your favorite movie villain? Mine is Joker. Well, the first person I think of is Elijah Wood from Sin City. And he has those long fingernails and he just kicks Marv's ass the first time you see him. And he was just such an awesome villain. Even when Marv cuts his arms and legs off and feeds them to the dogs, and the dogs are eating his body, he's just smiling the whole time. He never says anything. And I thought he was an awesome villain. Hannibal Lecter has to be one of the top villains. Leatherface is a top villain. Who of the three Shield members has the most potential? I have to say Dean Ambrose. I think he's great on the mic and he's unique. There's something original about Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley. Watch some of Jon Moxley's promos on YouTube, and there's just something intense about him that I really like. Tyler Black is good in the ring, and Dean Ambrose, I think, is the best middle ground guy. He's good at everything. But I have this feeling that WWE is going to end up pushing out of the three Roman Reigns. Excuse me. It just seems like he's got the look they like. And he's related to The Rock and Rikishi or whatever and all that stuff. So he's already related to like famous wrestlers. He's got that going for him. He's got the look. He's got the size. And I feel like out of the three, WWE is going to want to take Roman Reigns and push him, when really Dean Ambrose, I think, is the standout of the group. He's the star. But we'll see what happens. WWE seems to be going in a different direction with some guys and pushing people that they would have never pushed before. So they could see something in Dean Ambrose. Maybe Triple H likes him. You never know. Who is your favorite deathmatch wrestler? Gotta be the Necro Butcher. There's a lot of guys I've been a big fan of over the years, and CZW and IWA. But I have to say Necro Butcher, nobody has topped him in craziness. And I don't think anyone ever will. J.C. Bailey was pretty crazy. Thumbtack Jack was really crazy. But Necro, just something about him. He's got the look for death matches. He's amazing. And I know he's slowed down. Ugh, I just ate a bunch of Pop-Tarts. I know he's slowed down, but he's still one of my favorite deathmatch guys. Zandig was awesome. Wife Beater was awesome. Nick Mondo, he was good. He was crazy, but his matches, I'm kind of in the middle on, because there were a lot of botches, but he was also trying to do new things in the deathmatch scene, I guess. So I got to give him credit for trying new stuff, even though it led to some botches. What is your favorite Tournament of Death? Probably can't go wrong with the first 4. But if I had to pick just one, I'd have to say just Tournament of Death 2. I had a lot of guys I was a fan of: J.C. Bailey, Zandig, Nate Webb. Nick Mondo took the sick bump off the arena building, or whatever that building was, through the 2 tables in the light tube log cabin. Nick Gage was in that one. Just I think Messiah was actually in that one too, who I was a big fan of in death matches. But yeah, 2 is definitely a good tournament. 4 is probably right up there with it though, because I really enjoyed 4. Do you have a private Facebook account? Yeah, I just created one a couple weeks ago. It's my only Facebook account, my first Facebook account. I created a Facebook account for the channel, but it was when I had no idea how to use Facebook. It was like back in February of last year, and it was a business page, so you can only like the page. I can't add friends. I can't do anything. I don't even know what the point of that is. So I've never really tried to promote it on the channel or anything, but I did create a Facebook like that, and I'm going to create a real one for the channel where I can add friends and stuff. What is your favorite entrance theme song in WWE at the moment? That is all. Keep them coming. You are awesome. Well, I appreciate that, and I wish you would ask Ring of Honor or TNA, because I know my favorite themes: Scum theme and Ring of Honor, and the Bad Influence Christopher Daniels Kazarian theme in TNA. Those are my 2 favorites in those companies. And in WWE, I can't really think of a favorite song. Great Khali has got a catchy song. I like Drew McIntyre's song before he was in 3MB. I liked Wade Barrett's old song back from when he was in the Core. Who else? Yeah, I can't really think of any current WWE wrestler who has like a great theme song that I really enjoy. Shawn Michaels always had a great theme song. It was just goofy, but you would just get pumped up when you heard it. Bret Hart had a great theme. Razor Ramon had a great theme. But as far as current guys, I really can't think of anybody. Goldust had one of the best themes of all time, in my opinion. Oh, 11 Amiri. What is your favorite sports team? I have no idea, man. I live in North Carolina, so I guess that's the Panthers. Maybe they're good. I don't know. Probably not. Basketball, I remember the Charlotte Hornets. I don't even know what they're called now. I know we're not the Charlotte Hornets anymore. They switched or something. I honestly couldn't tell you. I have no clue about that stuff. Where do you see this Robbie T. angle going? Most likely nowhere. I guess you're talking about how he comes out and dances now, which he's only done twice, hasn't done it in a few weeks, and it's one of those things with TNA where they'll do something and then they'll stop doing it, and they'll come back with it 2 months later and expect you to remember or care. I don't see him doing anything with him. Maybe he'll be a comedy guy, but they obviously do not have faith in his wrestling ability, even after all these years. Luke rated Will Locke. Will you be doing more Q&A videos more often, and when do you think The Shield will leave WWE, and can you see Cena winning the WWE title again? Well, I plan to do the Q&A videos every 100 videos now. So my next one will be at 700. And I think that's a great idea, just because it gives me enough time in between the last one and lets everybody ask questions. If I get new subscribers, they can ask the questions too. So I think I'm just going to do them every 100 videos. When do I think The Shield will leave? I don't think they're ever going to... I mean, the wrestlers themselves, it'll probably... I guess you mean break up, maybe? And I think pretty soon they're going to become regular wrestlers just like everyone else. They'll just have a place on the roster. But I don't see them doing this whole come through the crowd every week thing for much longer. And do I see Cena winning the title again? Unfortunately, yeah. I think he's going to win it at WrestleMania. And the only way this is going to be a positive thing is because everyone knows if Cena wins that title, he's going to be booed like crazy anywhere he goes. And because WWE knows this and is thinking of putting the belt on him, this could mean possibly a heel turn. I'm not getting my hopes up at all, but that would be awesome if they finally did it and pulled the trigger on that. But yeah, I wouldn't get your hopes up, but I do see him winning the title again. What stuff do you see THQ adding in the WWE Universe mode in WWE 14? Well, I don't know if you've heard about this, but THQ has filed for bankruptcy, which really sucks. They were always one of my favorite video game companies because their wrestling games, I believe they were, what was that company called? AKI, and THQ did the World Tours, Revenges, No Mercies, all that stuff. And being a Nintendo owner, I got the Day of Reckoning games and all that stuff for GameCube, so they've always done awesome with wrestling games, and the fact that they filed for bankruptcy really sucks. So I don't know who's going to take over for WWE 14, and from what I heard, I haven't played 13, I haven't played 12 or any of those games. From what I've heard, there's really not much more they could add. It's pretty extensive. You can pick like your arenas, you can pick storylines. I can't even fathom that. The last wrestling game I played was Day of Reckoning 2, and it had like your story mode. You could create a wrestler. I never played a game where you can create a finisher or any of that stuff. So the fact they have all that now just kind of blows my mind, like what you're able to do in wrestling games now. Pure X Rhino, which current product do you prefer, TNA or WWE, and who do you want in the Hall of Fame this year? P.S. Love your channel. I easily prefer the WWE right now. And I'm not saying WWE is the best wrestling company in the world, but out of those two, to be honest, they're both hard to sit through some weeks. But I feel like WWE has more guys I care about right now as far as storylines go. More stuff happening with new talent that I like seeing. Dean Ambrose, they just got El Generico, and TNA seems to be floundering. What was that promo Austin Aries cut a few weeks ago where he said that, look at the champions, RVD, Jeff Hardy, Chavo and Hernandez, Devon, and it's like TNA is stuck. They're back in time, and they're not bringing in new stars. They're not really making new stars besides Austin Aries. And yeah, they're finally doing stuff with Rude and James Storm, but these are not young guys anymore. And it took them forever to do this. So, I don't know. I have to say that WWE, I can enjoy more of the stuff. Maybe that's just because they have more time. They have 5 hours a week with Raw and SmackDown, and TNA only has 2. But when I watch TNA, I gotta tell you, some weeks I just do not want to watch that show. I just do not give a fuck about TNA sometimes. And Aces and Eights, Brooke Hogan and Bully Ray, I don't care. Sometimes I really just watch it for the reviews. That is it. I would not watch that for my own personal enjoyment. And who do I want in the Hall of Fame this year? I would have to say Macho Man. I think he should have gone in already. I'm glad they're finally putting Bruno in, but Macho Man would be awesome to see. Kurt Angle, I think, would be a good one to go in. Don't know when that's going to happen. I'd like to see Sting go in. I know some people say, oh, Sting doesn't deserve to go in the Hall of Fame. Well, Sting deserves to go in this Hall of Fame, okay? I mean, look who's in there. You're telling me Edge is in there and Sting isn't? Gotta have Sting in there. But yeah, that's another one that's kind of like a wish list, because I don't know when that's ever going to happen, but I can see Macho Man going in. Dragon Knight 49. Do you think the WWE's decline is the fault of the writer's creative team or Vince McMahon's? Second question, what is the funniest comment you've ever seen on one of your videos? I can easily tell you the funniest comment, and that, I cannot remember who said it. I think it was Metal Ruler. I have to go back and check. I am very sorry if I screwed that up, because it was a great comment. And it was when Big E Langston debuted. And he said, once you go rye black, you never go rye back. And that's still the best comment I've ever gotten. What was the other question? Do I think it's the fault of the writers or Vince's? Well, I guess if you think about it, everything is Vince's fault, because even if it is the writer's fault, Vince hired those writers. So you have to blame everything on Vince. But personally, I think Vince has maybe backed away from the business a little bit, but the writers really, really suck. These guys do not deserve their money. Man, the product just feels so generic to me now. And when I was growing up and watching it, or you watch the Attitude Era stuff, watch some of the old footage on YouTube. I watched a clip the other day, Shawn Michaels super kicks Vince McMahon after getting fired. And just watch that. And it just feels like there's something there. It's a wrestling show. And now you watch WWE and it's all clean, and I don't know what it is. It just feels like there's no heart there. There's no soul. It's just a TV show, and there's no, everything's so scripted and planned. It's so generic now. And that's really been hurting my enjoyment watching every week. I'm watching these 3-hour Raws. I'm watching these SmackDowns, and everything is so planned and generic. The main event tag team matches, it's just tough to get through. So I think the writers really do not deserve their money. When I was watching, everybody had storylines. You had stuff with Goldust, tag teams, the Godwins, the Smoking Guns, the Body Donnas. There were feuds going on all up and down the card. And now the writers focus on like one story, and they can't even get that right. So I think the writers suck. I can't blame everything on Vince, but technically you have to. So Adam Hollingsworth, if you could take the titles of all the champions in TNA and WWE, whose title would you take and give that title to, and whose title would you leave alone? I think I kind of answered that one with NJ's question, but TNA would need an entire overhaul of titles, except for the Knockouts, tag, and singles title. But the tag titles I would put on Bad Influence. World title I'd give to Bobby Roode. X Division title to Kenny King, and TV title to AJ Styles, probably. Just until I could put him back in the main event picture. There is absolutely no need to have Jeff Hardy in the main event picture, or Kurt Angle at this point in his career. Sting. It's horrible. I can't even... Jeff Hardy, the reason I say that, and I understand he's a ratings draw, but the reason he doesn't need to be in the main event is because he doesn't need to be there to get over. He's going to be over no matter where you put him. And in WWE, I would have left the title on Punk. World title I would give to Mark Henry. Intercontinental and US titles I think are fine, and tag titles I would have put on the Rhodes Scholars, but since they're gone, you could give the tag titles to anybody. It's not going to change anything. And Caitlin's fine as Divas Champion. Daniel Robright, what do you honestly feel gave us a better product in 2012, WWE or TNA? I would have to go with TNA all the way, although they did some stupid shit like AJ and Dixie. I think overall they gave the much better show. I'm still going to have to go with WWE. They had Chris Jericho return in 2012. That was exciting for a little while. They had Brock Lesnar come back, which was an awesome moment. The stuff with The Rock was fun. I enjoyed the John Laurinaitis People Power gimmick. I liked Mark Henry's heel run. Daniel Bryan's run with the title. I'm trying to think what else they did. CM Punk had some great matches with John Cena at Night of Champions, and there was another match I think in between there. The match with Ryback. TNA. What's some positive stuff TNA did? TNA did some stuff with Kazarian and Christopher Daniels. I like that. They had some good matches with James Storm and Bobby Roode. Austin Aries got a nice run with the title. And then you have the Aces and Eights. And they spent so much focus on that, so much focus on Bully Ray turning into this baby face, this lame ass baby face, that I think I explained it pretty well. Why I think WWE had a better year than TNA. TNA just spent too much time on stuff that wasn't working. Bad storylines, bad angles, they kept trying to push. The only reason they dropped Claire Lynch was because Claire Lynch did not want to be on TNA anymore. Otherwise, they would have kept trying to shove that lame angle down our throats. So, I gotta go with WWE. Not that they didn't do some stupid shit themselves with AJ Lee, but overall, I still think they had better stuff on the show. And I'm sure TNA, if they could compete with WWE and bring in guys like Brock Lesnar, that would really help them out. And obviously, they can't do that. And I try not to compare companies. That's another thing I don't like to do. Every company is kind of unique and offers something different. So I don't try to compare the companies, why WWE is better than TNA. But as far as my personal enjoyment, my opinion, which is the only thing I can honestly give, I have to say I enjoyed WWE more. But I'm not trying to compare the companies here. TV Girl, will you do more videos with your epic bearded buddy? Probably not anytime soon. You never know what's going to happen. I talked to him recently, but it wasn't about doing videos or anything like that. So, yeah, I'm not trying to do videos with anybody else for a long time, but you never know. Who do you think are the best young actor and actress under 40 currently working in films now? That's kind of tough for me. I can't really think of any like young people who I guess who are new, relatively new. I would say Channing Tatum. I'm not sure how you say his name, but this guy is in a ton of stuff, and I think he's really good because he's in funny movies, which I enjoy, and then he does the chick flicks, which I don't watch, but he can do those too. So he seems to be doing pretty well for himself. And that girl from the Hunger Games seems to be doing pretty good. Jennifer Lawrence, I think is her name. Anne Hathaway's pretty good. Yeah, I can't really think of a lot of people that come to mind. I tend to watch a lot of horror movies. So a lot of times you get people who are new actors who no one's seen before, and then hopefully they get into some other roles. So it's kind of hard for me to say. TBH Serial Killer, what's your opinion on WWE being PG? I personally hate it and think it's for kids and it's ruining the franchise. Do you think TNA is doing everything right to take the fans that want more brutal adult stuff from the WWE? I believe they could, but over a period of time. I'm not a big fan of the PG stuff. I'm not going to say that it destroys the the WWE. I would prefer them to be able to do some more extreme stuff, like not really extreme stuff, just simple stuff. Like if you're on a pay-per-view and you have a Hell in a Cell match and you want to have a little bit of blood, have some blood. I think they just take PG too far. I don't like all the comedy segments. I don't think you have to do bad comedy just because you're PG. Like the New Year's Eve episode where Mae Young gives birth to Hornswoggle. What in the hell was that? That was terrible. And they spend a lot of time on bad comedy segments that nobody likes, nobody cares about. And I think that's the problem with PG. They could put on a good PG show. Chikara is a company that gets PG done right, but WWE just makes it stupid. And this goat face stuff with Daniel Bryan, it's like, oh my god, they're killing him. R-Truth is another guy who's just been destroyed by this PG era. Do I think TNA could get the fans? No, I do not. A lot of fans like myself who watch the Attitude Era are not watching TNA and saying, "Oh my God, this is more graphic than WWE." They still do the same stupid stuff. They have aces and eights hit people with hammers. I'm not saying that's not like. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be brutal, but everything they do just comes across as cheesy to me. I mean, you could say that them kidnapping Joseph Park was adult and more attitude, but it was so silly. I mean, they were like electrocuting him and starving him, and it's just silly stuff like that. So I don't think it's really like an attitude thing. I don't think they're trying to be really hardcore. They're trying to do these storylines that, I don't know, how should I put this? They're trying to get both. They want to get the PG audience on TNA, which is why they do some comedy stuff, and they also want to get the Attitude Era audience. And right now, it seems like TNA is failing at both. If TNA really just wanted to get back some wrestling fans and try to get the fans that are tired of WWE, they would focus on wrestling. They would focus on the X Division. They would focus on guys like Styles, Christopher Daniels, James Storm, Bobby Roode, not Hulk Hogan and Brooke Hogan and this thing with Bully Ray. They would not focus on stuff like that. And yeah, they may have popped a rating, but those are not wrestling fans, okay? Those are people who aren't going to buy your pay-per-views. They may click to see what kind of bullshit's on TV, what the hell Brooke Hogan is doing, marrying Bully Ray or something because it's on Yahoo.com or trending or whatever it is. So they may pop in for that, but they are not coming back for anything else. And you're a wrestling company. So unless you plan to make your show all about these soap opera weddings and stuff like that, affairs or whatever, it's never going to last. WCW did the same exact thing. Isaiah1231 CPNYC, how old are you? I'm 28. People without a face. Do you think WWE can do better than where they're at now? I feel like they don't even try anymore. Yeah, I think they could do much better. The problem with WWE is they've gotten really lazy. When you don't have any competition and you know that the fans, you know you have your products that are going to sell, like you got your WrestleMania, and you know people are going to watch that no matter what you do, and it feels like WWE used to try to make WrestleMania feel like a big show. A really big show. The biggest show of the year. They would go all out, and this year it feels like they're barely doing anything. And I can't blame all of that on WWE. It's hard to build an angle with CM Punk versus The Undertaker when you don't know if Taker's going to be able to do the match. So maybe they're holding off on that. But they need to get on the same page with these writers and stuff, because I feel like they change their minds so much, nobody knows what the hell's going on. They may think they want to do Sheamus versus Orton. Maybe we should turn Orton heel. And then they decide against it, and nothing really happens until the last minute. And I think they really need to start focusing on building up WrestleMania. And WWE seems to be improving as far as giving Punk the title for so long. But at the same time, they've done a lot of stupid crap in 2012. And I think they really just... a lot of that is because they're lazy. And they could try to take risks or they could do what works. Focus on Cena. It works. And I don't know, I think they've just relied on the fact that they're the only show in town for a long time now, and it's made them lazy. I mean, it was never like this before. Wrestling definitely goes through ups and downs, but you could tell, like, at least back then, Vince was still trying. He tried different things, some stuff that didn't work, some lame-ass characters, but he was still trying and focused on the product. Now it feels like he leaves the product in other people's hands, and he's not really focused on what's going on in his own company anymore. His priorities in life have changed, it seems like to me. And just over the past 10 years, WWE has, like I said earlier, turned into this generic product that's just so slick and smooth, and everything from the intro screen, when it used to be that Raw is War intro that would get you like pumped up to watch the show, and now it's like just a regular intro. Seems just so bland and unoriginal. Just everything about the shows, I don't like it. It's like the Walmart of wrestling. Justin JD 1990. If you could make your dream Royal Rumble match and it involved any of the superstars who are currently in WWE, TNA, and Ring of Honor, which 30 wrestlers would you put in that match? Oh man, that is a really good question. That would be really hard for me to do right now, though. I should have done that before the Royal Rumble, but I will make a video just on that alone, and I'll do my 30 wrestlers that I would from WWE, TNA, and Ring of Honor that I would put in a Royal Rumble match. That is a really good question, and I'll just make like a separate video for that one. DT Shuffler 2011. Do you like sci-fi movies like Matrix or Terminator? Will you be doing a review of the Saw films? I will be doing the Saw films. I liked the first Matrix movie. I liked the second one too. The third movie was okay, and I actually have the Animatrix, which is awesome. That is very good. But yeah, the third movie kind of just got a little crazy for me, but I did enjoy the second one for what it was. It had some cool fight scenes. First movie's awesome. But yeah, I enjoy sci-fi movies. Terminator's a great... The first two movies I really like. 3's okay, Salvation was pretty good, but yeah, the first two, nothing's been able to beat those. Too Cool AK7, what's your name, Daniel? Too Cool AK7, you got PS3, add me if you got one. I know, weird name. I do not have a PS3, I have a Nintendo Wii. I know, it's horrible, but I got a Wii, I have a 3DS, and a Nintendo DS. I have all the old Nintendo systems. But yeah, the only thing I've really been... Actually, the only thing I've been playing lately is games on my phone. The Sims and stuff like that. Temple Run and games for the Android. So that's what I spent a lot of my time playing. But yeah, I do not have a PlayStation 3. I may get a new Xbox or something like that. I'd like to get a Wii U, but the only reason I haven't really tried to get a new system is because I just don't really have time to play the games right now. But Horror Fan 34. Have you ever seen the TV movie action thriller Survive the Night, starring Stephanie Powers, Kathleen Robinson, Helen Shaver, and Curry Graham? If you haven't, it's a must-buy and you should review it. I don't think I have seen that. It doesn't sound familiar to me. I'll have to look that one up. Have you ever seen the action thriller Judgment Night, starring Emilio Estevez, Cuba Gooding Jr., Dennis Leary, Stephen Dorff, and Jeremy Piven? I think I actually saw bits and pieces of that, but I don't think I've ever seen the entire thing. I'll definitely have to check that one out because I'm a big fan of Dennis Leary. Name at least 2 of the worst movies you ever saw. You know what? I'll go get them right now. I'll show you the 2 worst movies I ever saw.